we waiting to like confirm, like it is on and going?
It's preparing to live stream the meeting. It's going. It's
So maybe just tell us.
okay.
Probably better not to.
Well, and
Yeah.
sometimes
There's no.
Okay, you guys are now live.
there's a lag and then something.
All right, it is 6:02 PM. We'll call to order. Our council meeting. We'll have a introduction.
Jessica Short, Governing Council.
David Littlefield, Governing Council.
Carol Flores,
Renee Edwards, member.
Isaac Trio, governing council.
Don Cordoba, Business Manager. Tamara Lopez, Executive Director.
Let's see. Do we have, take a look at the agenda? We have. The agenda, everything looks good. So we're gonna get motion to approve. Yes, we are. Vote.
Yeah, well, yes on that.
David, yes.
Jessica, yes.
Isaac, yes.
These people.
While you guys are coming in, we have approval of the previous minutes. Take a look at that. If those are all right. If so, can we get a motion to approve the previous minutes?
Well, the minutes.
Second.
Vote,
Yes.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
Isaac, yes. All right. Someone decided to open forum. Are they here? I'm pretty sure. We don't have to go past that. All right, move on to the budget and finance committee report. Who wants to do that? I guess Paul's not here. Okay.
So we can meet on Tuesday. Actually, all of us were there. Until actually confirmed was there in place of Tamara and myself. And we went over the journal entries and the budget report, the bank reconciliation for January. And nobody actually had any questions. Everything was good. Just to point out, we are at 1.6 million in carried over. So we still have got that. Hopefully our budgets don't change much. Next year we'll be okay. And that's, oh, yeah, there is a cash report in here. We don't really need to go over it. I just need to give it to the board so that you guys have that, so that you know that I did file the quarterly cash report. It starts on page 12. This is the second quarter cash report. You just look over it. You guys have any questions, and I can let you know.
Do you have any cards?
No cards.
Any bills?
There were no new teams over 5,000.
So nothing you can vote on?
Well, the A and C need to be voted on.
Oh, January financial report. We have a motion for the January financial report.
Go ahead.
Make a motion to approve the January financial report.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Yes, Renee, yes.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
Isaac, yes. And then C, check register for December and January. We have a motion to approve those. We went over this, correct? That's the cash.
So those are pages 7 through 9.
We have a motion to approve these.
I also make a motion to approve these.
I'll second. No motion.
You guys are the only
That's the
ones.
board.
And David will. as well.
Isaac, yeah. All right, we'll move on to executive director's report.
Good evening. Tonight we have a special treat. The flamenco department is here to present some information to you. And I believe we're expecting a music department representative as
He's
well.
finishing up his lesson down.
Oh, perfect. So, you're off the box, that's what we- well, yeah. So this evening we have Mr. Fabian Cisneros who came to last month to request permission to travel with some of the dancers. And tonight we want to share that information with us.
Fabian Cisneros, glad to be back here again. I want to tell you a little about what we're accomplishing in the Flamenco program. And I'm going to focus on something that we've been engaging with in our advanced level course and pushing to our intermediate class. And we're engaging with flamenco at the theoretical level, right? So we've been engaging with this text right here by Professor Lamont. The text we're working with is Why We Dance, right? Philosophy of Bodily Becoming. So this is thinking about dance from the philosophical level. And what Professor Lamont has to say is this. She says that matter itself is a movement. She makes this the point that in a movement paradigm, movement is the medium out of which matter is made. And a world in which movement matters is a world in which everything at every scale and every dimension exists as movement, as patterns of movement, made, remembered, and recreated. These patterns are not visual. We cannot form them in our minds. They are kinetic. They are accessible to us only as a multidimensional transformation of our sensory experience of time and space. And what Professor Lamont goes on to say is to remind us that, evolutionarily, right, the brain evolved for movement. We are meant to be moving creatures. And all that exists because it is moving, right? And we know that at the most basic physical level. And so we are creating this program that we presented Bisbee, Arizona, called Spoken Word While to Becoming. And we're thinking about flamenco as a language, as our bodies as a form of grammar, right? That we are always working to develop in order to communicate ourselves through movement. And so the piece or the group, the production we're producing incorporates spoken word as well as choreography to recorded music as well as live music. We'll be performing this live music with some amazing artists, Mr. Misael Barraza Diaz, Mele Martinez, Jason Martinez, and Angelina Ramirez. Those will happen in the spring. Now, we're going to present just a small little piece of some of the things we're working on, including the spoken word section and some choreography. And if you have any questions, they are prepared to take your questions. So let's begin with a short spoken word and then a piece.
This poem is titled, The First Word Was a Step. Before the mouth found its music, before the tongue turned syllables into songs, there was the body. A language raw and rhythm wrapped, a cipher made of skin, muscle, bone. The first word was a step, pressed into the dirt like an ancient promise. The second was a sway, hips tracing hieroglyphs in the air, arms carving stories into the sun. Before the fire whispered its crackling sermons, we spoke in leaps and spirals. Our voices carried in the wind as movement, not sound. Dance, the mother tongue of the human soul, a universal dialect etched in the flesh, one that even silence could not shatter. Do you see it? In the sway of the hunter stalking the prey, in the stomp of feet summoning rain, in the soft caresses of a mother and child, in the tight grip of a father's embrace. This language, together we spoke first, a pulse that thrums in the chest of DNA. Thank you.
Just take on this piece right here. So right here, we're gonna get in your way.
They won't let him.
Should be connected. Vale.
I don't want to take too much of your time, but if you guys could take a second just to quickly introduce yourselves and maybe say a few words about flamenco, whatever's on your mind.
Hello, I'm Cassie Higuera. I'm in intermediate flamenco this year. I came to Papa in ninth grade. Take any dance because I was super scared. I was like, oh my gosh, everyone's gonna judge me. I'm gonna be so bad at it. All of this kind of negative self-talk, kind of pushing me away from dance. And then this year, or last year, sorry, I decided to take beginning flamenco, and I was like, "Ugh, I need a PE credit. Let me just get this out of the way. And I ended up falling in love with it, and now I'm in intermediate, and I'm also pursuing Bata de Cola outside of school at National Institute of Flamenco.
Hi, I'm Martel Smith. I am in advanced flamenco, and I've been dancing a lot of my life. It's for me, it's like a emotional outlet, like a way for me to get my energy out. So like the days when I don't dance, I'm like bouncing off the walls. Dancing here is such a different experience though from the dance. I also dance at National Institute of Flamenco because here it's a smaller community. There's more almost like family within the classes. You get to know people better, like you have fun together. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Schrack. I've been at Papa since the 6th grade, and I've been taking classes with Mr. Cisneros since the 6th grade as well. I've always been a dancer, and it's just been a wonderful way to express myself, even when like times getting really hard and I don't have another option. This has always been my safe space. This has always been my home for it.
Hello, my name is Isabella Cisneros, and I've also been dancing since I was very little.
My parents were both flamenco dancers. We met a flamenco company, so I didn't really have a choice when the first time, but now as I've grown older, I think somewhere, definitely in the ninth grade, I think I sort of also like fell in love with it more. I was like, oh, this isn't just something that I'm doing just because I have to. It's something that I want to be here for. I'm also in the advanced flamenco group, La Compañía, and I also have to agree with Martel. These girls are and boy, brothers and sisters to me, and so it's really important. And I feel like I'm not only pursuing something that my family is involved in, but I feel like I've made family too. I as well studied Bata de at the National Institute of Flamenco, and I feel like even the people I meet there, it's such a community. And I think the great thing about being able to dance at school is that we not only have access to the arts here in our curriculum, but we also have the resources to find it outside of school, which is where, you know, people who need the arts need the most. And so I think that's really great that we get to share it with everyone. And that's what I'd like to say about flamenco.
I know you're busy in the middle of several different events and functions, but I just want to acknowledge your critical thinking and problem solving to adjust to different spaces on the fly. Y'all are genius, brilliant. Cannot wait to see you at the spring dance concert. And I want to say thank you in advance. I know that you are going to be the people behind the scenes that are helping nervous students for the first time get their hair just right, figure out what the flamenco hair is and lips and all of that good stuff. So thank you in advance for your leadership for that event.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. All right, so now I present to you Mr. Ed Suarez on behalf of the music department. He's going to share some updates and current working and comment.
Sure.
And whatever you want to come.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
So, once again, that was wonderful to watch and seeing those things. One of the things that we don't always see is what's happening at our school, that kids getting recognized for amazing things. Emily Christopher, we just did jazz empath basically, and she was selected as the trumpet player of all, the #1 trumpet player in APS. So, and it's interesting because, you know, every now and then kids will get to that point where they're like going, oh, I want to be in a big school, I have more chances. Well, you know, I had to kid them a little bit today. I said, see, and you got it here. So, you know, a testament to Anthony Baca's teaching. He's doing a great job with the band. We're all getting ready. The band, the orchestra, the choirs, and guitar are all getting ready for our empath festivals. It's music performance assessment. And that's really important to us as music teachers. That is really, you know, yes, we get, we get our, you know, evaluations. And that's on our classroom. But to be evaluated by our peers and to them, you know, listening to us and being able to talk to us in our same language, telling us what are we doing well, what could we do to improve, or wow, can you come teach at our school? You know, we get all those kinds of comments. It's a wonderful thing. That's what we're preparing for right now. We did some combined things this year. The orchestra played with choir, and we had guitars playing with dance and different things. It's been really a lot of fun. We have something else coming up, which we're hoping works out. We had a first little meeting today. Our modern band, along with our electronic music tech class, are doing a recording project. So we're going to create, you know, a digital album of our modern band students, and all of our tech students are the ones doing the recording. So they've had to learn all these different things, how to set things up, how to get things done. Oh, wow, they really can sound good in this room if we do certain things and record them. So we made our first recording today, which is a live recording, which they will use as a backing for them to do their studio recordings. We're going to do an actual studio recording with it as well. And then we erase that part, And then we have that. We're gonna also talk, I'm having a mixer, professional mixing person come in and work with the students. And then also a mastering person come in to work with the students, so they learn the difference between the jobs. And then for the modern band concert, we'd like to have a nice little thing that people can take those little, whatever you call them. QR codes, yeah. And that way everybody can get the album and share that with each other. We can't sell it because they're cover tunes. So we gotta be careful about that, but we can have, those kinds of things. Other than that, we're busy doing a lot of things. I really wish that more people would come visit us. We're open doors, come on in, check us out, see what we're doing. Any given day, you're gonna hear something different. And everything from our middle schoolers on up to, the high school students doing different things. This year, try something new. If we qualify, I'm gonna be taking middle school, high school mixed, and late chanteuse to our state competition. Hopefully, I'll keep, hoping that we can do it. If we do it, it will be the first time that any high school, middle school has actually won all three. So let's see if we can do it. Yeah, scary. Anyway, we're having a lot of fun. Come by, check us out. And one more thing. We're almost all the way paid off for a trip to Disneyland. Okay. Our fundraisers have been great. I do have to, mention that the girls that are doing the fundraising in charge of it have been amazing. I mean, they have done so many things, and I really haven't had to do much except to say, that's not gonna work. Little things. They have been amazing, and that's, Ellie, and Emily, all the same people that do those things. But we're almost there, almost ready to go. I meet with Disney Imagineering again next week. We're going to do a Disney Princess show, which is going to be all princess songs. And we're going up to Hummingbird this weekend to learn. So it's going to be a fun time. All right? Any questions?
Who you gonna have to come do the mixing?
We got a couple people, Michael Thomas. Yeah. So that's gonna be one. And then Austin's coming up to do some stuff. Yeah. So
That's his degree from Berkeley. So.
yeah, he kind of knows what he's doing. Any other questions? Okay. Hey, good thing.
Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah, that's all right. It was nothing that you probably haven't heard. Oh, they got the same for the Gambia.
Oh, yeah.
Their own little private performance.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
Good to see you all.
Come find you when we're done.
All right, I'll be down in my cave.
So in your packet, I have a printout summary results from our Panorama School Program Climate Survey from the fall. It actually took this long for us to get the results. I kept checking and it was always last year's result, but I just a couple weeks ago got an email and it was current. So we shared this out at our EDAC, and I'll be sharing it out with our whole staff very soon. It'll probably go out in this memo, and next time we can do a deep dive into it. Many of the areas are improved from the first time we took the survey, which was last year. And I don't have a direct correlation, but I have to think that a lot of our SEL pushing in are continuing to talk about our graduate profile, having our senior moments, just different things we're using. It has to help the kids feel connected. I think we're just being more aware about talking about what our school is and what we want it to be. So just interesting. I'm asking for the GC to approve travel for 4 math teachers to go to the National Math Conference, and our Title II dollars are budgeted to go attend the Arts Network Conference, but that conference sold out before we could get in. Looking at our math scores in general in the United States, in the state, in our city, in our school, this is an area I think that we could really invest in development of our teachers and staff, and they're willing to go. It's a 3-day conference, but we're going to go for 2 days. there's a 2-day option because they want to come back in time for graduation that night. They're flying back from this graduation night. And so they have a commitment to the kids and they want to be here. So there is funding already available to us that's been allocated for professional development. And so if you would approve, I'd love for 4 of our teachers to go to that. It's for middle school and high school and elementary, and part of the breakout session specifically speak to working with like special education students in math and co-teaching and just general practice in general, because it's a national conference. I think it would be really good to make that happen.
And I assume like always they estimated over subject.
We're working on our registration process. Next Thursday, we have some transition meetings for our 8th graders going into high school year freshmen. And then for our upcoming seniors, juniors, rising to seniors, we're having a meeting with parents. We're reviewing expectations and just what you need to be prepared for your freshman year and for senior year. And I shared out with parents a little bit of information about the process of registration, so it's easy, hopefully a little more transparent. Next Thursday, we're going to push into classes and get students to pick their class selections in PowerSchool with us, and then we'll share out again the Google links for parents in case they didn't have an opportunity to look at it. And if they don't have to fill out the Google link, but I'm hoping that they have a conversation at home with their kid and talk through what the choices are. So we'll push that out again. They become the course backups, right? If the course class gets really full because seniority will go to the upperclassmen, then we'll partner that second choice. We leave the first choice alone, mostly depending on the grade, and then the second choice gets partnered with the fourth choice and the third choice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So their third choice becomes a backup. If that class is full, then they'll jump into the schedule. We also are opening up the Diana Diaz Community Service Award. Anyone is eligible to nominate a student for that. So I put that application in here for you. And then I've also included a different copy of the proposed calendar for next school year. The difference of this calendar does, to my knowledge, align with APS much better than the first one. And their APS visual calendar doesn't exist, so I took the website and colored with a highlighter to make a pop-up calendar and the APS calendar, so we could see the alignment of the grades like summer, spring, fall. Yeah, sorry, that calendar. I think it doesn't exist. I don't think so either. I like looked all over on the internet and so I was like, thank you. Yeah. And we had some different discussions about the early release of different colors. Do y'all have any questions?
Have the teachers review this
Yes.
version?
So not the new version, but it was their input that caused this to change.
Okay.
They called
I
very-
thought this was in a box. Isn't this in a box? With the center back. I'm not sure.
And then I shared that
We
with
have
you.
to- Because it was in the boxes that they noticed that.
Yeah.
Line was wrong.
So we need to approve the travel request and then vote on the
Yeah.
calendar. So BDAC was good with this one.
I'm not on that, I have no idea.
Huh?
I'm not on EDAC, I have no
Oh.
idea. I know that the teachers
Yeah.
looked at it
Okay.
independently.
Okay.
Let's start with the calendar first, but yes. We have. Motion to
So-
approve the calendar?
What was the change, what changes?
Okay, so the very first calendar I presented did not align with what PPS had on the website
Okay. All right.
previously. So
Okay.
we realigned that, and then there was another tweak that was made in November on the 10th and 11th. So Veterans Day is the 11th, and I had us coming to school on the 10th for an in-service And then everybody off on the 11th, and staff said, hey, how come we can't have a 3-day weekend and still honor veterans? Can we just have a 3-day weekend and be off, and then have the in-service, and then go to school? And then we also had discussion about, do we still need the early release that day, but the function of the early release is different from the in-service. A lot of the in-service is spent on required trainings from PT that we have to get to throughout the year, and the student staffing would be very specific for the first hour. Student staffing concerns, but then also collaboration of PLC time. If you had a idea to work on arts collaboration and integration with someone who could work on that during that time, so it's different. The intention of those days is different function. And so that was the last tweak that was made, is to have a holiday on the 10th, honor Veterans Day from home, but have in-service so that the teachers could have a 3-day weekend.
And the reason there's only one of those early release on April because of the testing now, no, just in case anybody's wondering.
Motion approved.
I would say yes to that. I vote for me.
Yes. David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
Yes. It's approved. All right, and the next we will vote on is the travel request for the 4 teachers going to Virginia, in May 6th and 8th. Do you have any questions about that?
They all stay in separate rooms? Yes. I want to go to a conference.
Unless we don't find rooms, you guys, when we check for our hotel, there's only one hotel left. And so if we don't book in time and there's only 2 rooms, then.
But it's in a Marriott, right? That's already full.
It was the only hotel that we could find that had rooms still available.
Well, no, the conference is in the Marriott.
So I think that was, I did not personally check for the hotel, my next door neighbor and my partner.
But they haven't sold out the conference yet.
No.
Any other questions? So.
If there's money, let them have it.
All right, do we have a motion to approve? Second?
I'll second that.
All right. Roll call, please.
Yes, why did you start with these just after?
Yes.
Just need more reversal.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
Isaac, yes.
You should reverse the circles.
You know, I'm not going to look at the numbers. But it makes sense. So approved?
Yes.
All right, moving on. Barb didn't send anything for the president's report. I don't really have anything. So.
What's happening with the black box idea?
I don't have any updates on that.
So we're asking the legislature for $500,000 for the planning and architecture, planning of an implementation of black box equipment. That would be a stage, lighting, sound, and the risers that fold into each other with chairs. And so we're asking, what I understand is that this legislature will be having access to their budget. Each legislator has a certain amount of money. And so at this time, we'll be asking our particular representative if they're willing, and it seems like they are, and how much will they be willing to. When we were there in Santa Fe, we got our request into the governor's office as well. So the idea is that if someone will say, yes, I'll allocate my portion of capital money to your school, then we go ask another person, hey, will you match or can you contribute, so that we can get the full amount. So that's what's happening with the black box.
So this was done without a bill?
Appropriation, yeah. Extra capital money.
It's a capital outlay.
As long as it's built, it's used to build buildings and stuff like that.
Or improvements to facilities.
And
So
all
like
of this
this
is-
equipment we could use or to, right?
All this is mobile except for the black tank?
Yeah.
And then what happens to the way that they run music down in that room?
Well, I've been having conversations with Ed, and we think that it would be, actually, this idea started last year, he and I having a discussion about how can we improve the school, and we came up with this idea, like this honor concert and celebrating together and having assembly. So we've been trying that, but kids sit on the floor, and it's not really ideal. And so it would be so much better, and we have to keep that seating. And so between Josh and Peter and Ed, we've been looking at different pieces of equipment. And so I have like a list of items that could work. And so if we get some money, we just go shopping. Hopefully we get the money. That's what I'd like.
I'm just looking at all the stuff that's already in that room.
Well, the stages have to go. They're bad. They're old and they can spring apart and can hurt somebody. And they're outdated. The stages that are in there, they're up on the side. They're covering.
The
whole
risers,
maker
the little
floor
risers
right
that
now.
fold
It makes
up.
them, it covers them up, so you don't even see
I'm
them.
talking about like the drum sets and the trombones and the. There's a lot of material in those rooms. Where do you put that? If you take a space that's devoted to music, you basically hand it to another program.
Well, the idea is that it would be multi-purpose, so we would still use it in the same capacity, but hopefully these things could fold away and push away.
Sure. And how many people are you planning on seating?
What I want is just elevated equipment for what we're already doing.
But that's not an answer. 100 people, 200 people?
Well, we fit, how many did we fit in for on our concert?
Yeah, it's gotta be 250. I assume.
We'll probably still maybe.
Half the school.
It's gonna be better than what we have, but we
Well,
want.
what is the actual, like, fire code capacity for that room? Because we have
That's a good
pictures of
question.
Because I know it.
That's a
This
good
is flashback to childhood elementary. We had this wonderful program. We had all the parents sitting in there, the kids were in there, and they shut us down in the middle of the performance. because we were out of our marches.
It's probably 350, I would imagine, something like
Because
that.
I was gonna say, we just.
It's wide open.
We want to get shut
Now,
down.
if there's a permanent installation of the stage, it's always up and not, then you'll have to have the fire code reset.
Sure.
And the stage stays with the fire from,
We want something that's like a key size, tuck it away, put it away, hold it out.
I'm sure that size of that room is probably minimum 350. Depending on what you have.
It's not as big as you remember.
I hope we have this problem to solve. I want the money. So we call your legislature, send your representative and tell them to support our school. We want to make our name really public, right? So that they recognize Papa, we perform, that they're like, oh, I've heard of Papa. That's a wonderful place. Excellent quality performing arts. So all the state representatives and legislators do get a little panda pen and information about Papa. And 4 of our students were introduced on the House floor. We have some, our students go and lobby and speak to different offices to advocate for our school, asking for the funding. This would be the beginning place of asking for continual support moving forward.
And how is that not cross purposes with us trying to get a building?
It's different when it's different money.
Well, it's different money, but
And this
again, you're
stuff will
asking
be able to-
people to donate stuff, and you're asking people to give stuff, and some of the stuff is here, and then we're gonna ask people to
I
give
think-
money to build over there.
I don't think this money would be able to go that way, so this is coming directly
Well,
from
it's
the
not just where
legislature.
the money
So.
comes from, it's the mindset. I mean, just bring it up. I just think you're working across purposes of what you're doing, and I also think that you need, there's just a lot of musical equipment in there, and I don't play a thing. I can't play chopsticks, but when I walk into that room, it's full of stuff. And I don't think it's junk stuff. I think it's stuff. It's educational. And so to presume that you're gonna walk in and build all these things in a completely new entity that doesn't serve what's already in there, particularly with like rehearsal
I
room.
mean, part of that might be able to build in some lockers for, or not lockers, but build in some.
You fit tubas and lockers, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, at high school.
That's what we used to do, just to kind of.
They have the music.
Yeah, they're the music lockers. You don't necessarily have to have them open and closed, just have pretty much shelving for them. That could be part of it. That could
Most
be
of
part
the
of it.
stuff that's down there, there's some instruments, some orchestra instruments I don't think that are being scored that are not like necessarily being used, there's some old pianos and stuff like that. But there's the recording equipment room. There's all the drums for the modern band that are down there. And of course, because they turned what was Ed's office into the recording room, he has his desk and everything out there. So some of that would definitely have to be reconfigured in order to make it work.
And how much money are you looking for again?
$500,000.
And that stuff goes with us. If we get it, so
Yeah, it's going directly to our
So
school,
we're-
not directly to our site.
minus the paint.
So, yeah.
And any storage solutions that might be built in. it's fine.
It would depend on how they put it in. If you buy the, like Wanger sells them, if we were to utilize that money to purchase the Wanger storage, those could be with us. Because those are specific for instrument storage. They're not something, I mean, you could anchor them to a wall, so we would move. If we build them, just have them built and probably have to stay. It would depend on how that works out. Also, I wonder how many, I don't know that we have a lot of these band instruments that we own. I'd be interested to know how many
A
actually.
lot more than they used to, but he got all that money, remember?
Yeah.
But they're all in they're in his room. The only things.
That's what
Yeah,
I was thinking.
they're
How
in
many
his
is
room.
are down there?
There's not much down there, band. There's pianos, if I remember right. And then I think there's still some string instruments down there. I'm not sure.
There's
Not
still
one of
some
them.
cleanup.
It's been a while since I've walked through there.
Those extra rooms.
No, because they store all the modern band, the drum sets and stuff are all stored in those little rooms, and then and then there's some that have, like, I think there's still some, I think they're trying to get rid of the extra pianos and some of the stuff.
Well, and the thing about me, it's non-converting, so it can be used later on, like, you have 4 to 5 years to spend it, you can ask for it to be reallocated. So depending on when the facility is built, you can use it at that time to create the storage or buy the equipment. You can
What is
also
that
use
called
it-
again?
The legislative appropriations,
Yeah.
it's capital funding, but yeah, so the discretionary funds,
You called it non.
non-reverting,
Non-revert.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
yeah. If you use it anyway, but just for our school, so but you can always ask to have it reallocated if they don't use it within 45 years. So, yeah, we can use it for architect services. It's so broad, we had it written so it's not just for the equipment, but also for the building, like we can't use it for direct purchase, but we use it for the architect services, save costs on that. We can hold on to it until we have the facility and build it that time, so it's not like something we're gonna get and we're gonna use it next year and then.
So hopefully the seating part.
Yeah, the
because
seating part,
I
yes.
think that's required to see, and then we can also hold it up in a way, or, you know, maybe just, we have beginning band concert in there, beginning orchestra.
So pretty much,
concert.
you don't have to spend all of it. Once we get it, we don't have to spend it.
Yeah, just a
Understand.
percentage and then they'll ask again next year. Mhm.
Right. Committee reports. Jessica, you're on there?
Yep, so the policy committee met last month, to look at 2 policies that we need to vote on. So the first one is a brand new one, page 41, if you guys want to take a look at it. And this is a restraints and seclusion policy. So Ms. Mack had presented this, sorry, I was like, Ms. Mack had presented this, and this is similar to what, you know, APS has same kind of policy on file. So if students become physically, you know, out of control and they need to be restrained for some reason, that is a last resort, of course, always, and it's only if they're a danger to themselves or someone else. And so my question for her was if she has staff that are NVCI trained, which is nonviolent crisis intervention. And she said they're planning on having the training that's scheduled now. Okay, good.
It's during our virtual school days, it's 2 full days, and so we'll be here training and then we'll go to the spring national.
Perfect. Okay, so there will be a team, that's the crisis team. Every school has a crisis team. So if something occurs and they call the crisis team, then those people are trained on what restraint would look. So if anybody has questions about this, please feel free to ask. I'm not the expert, but.
So they're gonna be actually trained how to properly physically restrain the kids?
If and when you should.
But physical restraint is always the very last. They
Yeah.
teach you at MBCI, right, how to
Right.
kind of.
I was just saying, I
With
was trying to
child.
do this for years, every time I was in APS, I
Yeah.
was trained every year. on
Yeah,
this.
you have
I
to
had
get
been trained since I came forward, but yeah, you're trained first to do, you try everything to do this.
Right.
Yes.
And then you're trained on safe, and of course, it's changed over my many years of teaching, the safest way to restrain a kid so that you're not, and
Okay.
yeah. just to, so you know, the only time in Popeye I've ever felt like I should, wished I had restrained a kid was when a kid took a handful of pills and popped them in their mouth. And, but I have never, this is not a thing that we've run into, but I think if we do run into it, which, you know, we do need to be able to handle it.
Yeah, it's important to have a trained crisis team. But I think it is really rare. I'm at a school where we are even a special education hub, like we have lots of kids, and I have not seen a kid have to be actually physically restrained.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
we
want-
we
I
use a
just
lot of
didn't know.
other ways to get.
Yeah, I just
people
didn't know what the process was
Yeah.
for training to actually lay hands on. Because there's got to be.
There's like, they do teach you holds if there is necessary for a hold. But
I also
again,
used to teach you how to get out of it, the kid was like.
and if a kid is practicing.
I had to learn it when it was a substituted white easy. So.
Yeah. So we do need to vote though, on this, so if you guys.
Do you wanna go to the next one?
You sent out two documents, and one was longer and one was shorter. And I asked
I-
a question and nobody answered.
Oh,
it,
sorry.
But I'm assuming this was the shorter document,
Yes.
and it was distilled from the longer one, and then. Just go through it. I thought this was up for further discussion, but I don't need to put it.
Okay.
Stop it, but if everyone feels this is fine, I just didn't understand that email.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sorry. I'm okay with this, but if anybody has questions, please feel free.
This is what we discussed.
Yeah, I mean, the policy committee, I is okay with it.
It's pretty straightforward.
You wanna go over the other one too, or just?
Sure, we can talk about the other one. So guys, the other one is super simple. It's Title IX. I don't know if you remember, but a couple months ago, we
This is
approved
Title
the,
IV.
or,
Well, I might need to check.
yeah.
It's up there.
Yeah, yeah.
You mean, Roman numerals.
School in the 90s. And cursive. So we had approved a new updated Title IX, which was in line with the federal policy. And since then, the federal policy has reverted back to the old language. So we just have to be in line with the federal policy. So we're literally, it's just voting to change it back to what was previously in place. The lawyer did say we would keep the new updated one on file. So in a couple of years, if the federal language changes again, that we can easily change it back. Right.
So it's all just language, like, stuff.
It's sexual harassment and Title IX and stuff like that, yeah. So, I know.
That's what they call it.
Okay. So, the restraint policy,
Yes. We have a. Anybody?
I move to approve.
Yes.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
As it is.
I have this down, but.
And we'll have a motion for the Title IX suspension.
Second.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes.
Isaac, yes. Both are approved. With training hours, looks like the only people that need to work on it are here.
Numbers.
You guys got 3 months. Get it done. You're watching the food. All right, we want to go into executive session? Yeah.
Yeah, we do need to just, it should be fast.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead and do that.
Okay,
Oh, good question.
Nope.
Oh,
okay, so I make the motion to close the meeting for the purpose of going into executive session pursuant to NMSA 10:15 discuss limited personnel matters. Can I get a second?
Second.
No action will be taken during or after executive session. And can we end the live broadcast after the vote? So can I get a vote by roll call, please?
Yes.
David, yes.
Jessica Short, yes?
Isaac, yes.
You're just gonna throw a wrench in it. See what everybody did.
Oh, you're
policy.
Sorry.
It's my understanding that when you go into closed session, you come back out. So you do record and you come back out.
Really?
And it's
So that's
over.
why she read that, is because you can't say no action is going to be taken.
Because we're not gonna-
We're not
Yeah.
discussing it.
Sorry, this is your closed session now.
Just saying. If there is some reason for my education, I'll figure out what it is. I'll tell you in a moment.
When you figure it out, let me know. I'll figure out mine.
Doctor's book.